Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, Lone Star Mopars.com. Sunday night, kind of pushing the gun here, and I'm trying to get some stuff wrapped up because I want to get it to work and get it in use. So I'm kind of treating myself to an upgrade at work. Everything that I'm about to show you is not staying here a minute longer. It's going to go with me to work, and it's going to be there until it's gone. So what we have going on. Something you may not know about me, being that we bring in a ton of German tools. We do Japanese stuff. We get old American things. At work, it's honestly old school American. That's what primarily is there. And that's one of the reasons I'm upgrading, is because it's like old school is getting to the point that it's kind of like served very, 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 very long lives. It's a bunch of like mismatched stuff, if you will, you know. And it's kind of just time to get something set up. So I'm making big changes there for myself personally. This is personal side of work. It's not going to be like, issued for everyone in the shop. This is me. And it's something that I know. I've told you before, like my favorite wrenches, Proto Challenger 500s. Can't get them anymore. That's why we kind of went with the right stuff. Favorite impact sockets based on that. I really like the Wrights better, but I've used the Protos way, way, way more. And you kind of see that when I bring in half-inch drive. That's kind of important to me. I consider that more of like a safety risk. You're way more likely to run like a high-power impact with that stuff. Everything at work is still primarily air, outside of me like shooting lag screws out on motors and stuff, or in the parking lot using something cordless. It's air. And I would use air if it wasn't like a pain in the butt to drag out air hoses everywhere. So it stands what it is. It's old school. It's going to stay old school. And what I'm doing here, this is probably my least used. I'm kind of flaunting back and forth between what to do for my half-inch setup, but I sort of settled in on my 1/4 and 3/8 stuff. And we're going to take a look at the 1/4 drive setup that I've kind of selected here, on the socketry side anyway. And I will tell you, all of this came from Zoro. I used fat discounts on it. I got amazing buys. I always tell you, like, Koken, the bang for the buck in terms of quality, the quantity that you get, like fairly comprehensive sets, is really tough to beat. This is a situation where with this, I was sub-Koken prices, and I was able to get one thing that this company does is they pretty much go all out. You can get smaller sets, but like sometimes your more comprehensive set, we're talking like 13 versus 10 versus 7 type of things. Sometimes it's cheaper to get, it makes no sense, but sometimes the bigger set is cheaper than like the 10 or the set. Like I said, I have no explanation. I just see the prices, shop around, and take advantage of it. So what nearly gave me a heart attack is when this stuff came in. It is in like the most mismatched, mislabeled boxes you will ever see. But I can tell you right now that what I elected to go with is in this box. And some of you see it and you instantly know. The red and the black, it's old school, just like I prefer. This is Proto. And Proto, bang for the buck, American made, size of the sets, comprehensiveness of the sets, very hard to beat. Proto, leg up on Wright in that it's usually available, especially sockets. Wrenches sometimes vary, but one knock on Wright, where I tell you, you can definitely, people act like it's unobtainium. That is totally not accurate. Especially, like if you're just set up with tool trucks, maybe you don't have a distributor, or like an industrial supply house, or you don't frequently buy from like a mom and pop hardware store. You can still find it online. It's not difficult to do, but one thing that I think Proto has over Wright is just when it's not in stock, you're going to see it way sooner with Proto than with Wright. That's just personal experience over the last like 15 years or so. It's just the way it is. This right here is going to be part number J47102. You can see right there, made in the USA. And this is going to be a, if you can't figure that out, socket set, 1/4 drive, 6-point 10-piece. This batch right here, April 17th, 2023. Now, this is interesting. You're going to have clips, you're going to have sockets, and you're going to have a rail. We do not care about that. This is the good spring steel. Koken does good spring steel. Proto does good spring steel. Wright probably would, but they typically go with a plastic rail. This is what you have. You have 10 sockets. I'm going to just hopefully fish this out. One of the things I love Where Koken goes 3/16 to half, which again, pretty comprehensive, Proto adds this, which is 9/16. And it's awesome. They're not quite stamped as highly visible as Wrights are. That's one knock on them. They're going to have the well on the broaching, which is, you know, to each their own. Most people tend to prefer this. You can see the quarter drive there. These are, I believe, made in Texas. And, this is just a deal where I have years and years of experience with Proto sockets, chrome, and of course impact, particularly impact. That's primarily what I use. I'm not a big quarter drive guy. I've said that a million times. Everything is pretty much half-inch with the exception of a few things that we have to use swivels on in 3/8 or with the air ratchet. Why am I getting quarter? I do all the machine maintenance type stuff. There are certain times the quarter profile is better. Also, you know, junction boxes, things like that. You cannot fit. I could totally get a 9/16 half-inch drive socket, but when like you've got a recess in a piece of metal that's like this, that big socket wall is not going to come down, so you do need something smaller. That's where this would come in. 3/16 to 9/16, 10 pieces. That's pretty much what I would want. That was my one knock on Koken, was just they didn't include the 9/16, which is very easy and economical to add. I should interject there, but price point on this was $59.16. That's 10 quarter drive made in America sockets with a rail, for better or for worse. Essentially, they were $6 a piece. Go right now, price out your favorite import brand if they sell individually, which that's another perk with Proto as an industrial brand. If I lose my 9/16, if I blow it up, I can buy a 9/16. This is a huge advantage. This is why tool trucks, this is one thing you have to give them. This is one thing industrial suppliers, someone like Koken, your German companies, as great as Icon sockets might be, as great as you might like their wrenches, you can't go in and easily acquire a standalone part number. And when you do, I can guarantee you, I don't care how cheap, I don't care if it's Milwaukee, if it's DeWalt, if it's Chinese made, whatever, you're going to pay more than $6 for that 9/16 socket. So you got to be smart sometimes, and sometimes the quality that you think would cost more is actually the more economical option. Now, pairing with that, of course, while deep is probably what I would use most often, for clearance reasons, I've got this. I just went ahead and the other night when I was making sure, I was trying to figure out the whole crisis of everything these people did with their part numbers. We had this one right here, right? Or was it this one? It was one of these, J47106 and J47102. Essentially, what we need to know: deep socket set 5916, shallow 4071. Those are killer prices for made in the USA sockets. Again, the life cycle, the lifespan, they're not shiny, they're not mirror polished anymore, but they're still there ticking, and that's what I base things on, is are they functional? The answer is yes. The deep, I think, would be the J74102, and then the 47106, I believe, would be the shallow. I'll have all this linked. I don't make jack off of it. Again, it is solely there for your convenience. But that's what I did here. And then you think, well, hey, you know, sometimes, you know, with quarter stuff, you've got weird lengths, and those deeps aren't going to get there. The shallows sure not. You're going to need extensions. I totally agree with that. And what I did is, in a bag somewhere, I guess it's this one. Oh yeah, it is definitely this one. This is just how it came to me, a giant box, probably drop shipped from Proto, or Stanley, Mac, whatever you want to call it. And if I spill the contents here, we're going to have what I selected. Now they have way more options than this, but I thought, you know what, that's going to get me going like 99% of the time, probably 100 if I combine them. We've got a 10-inch extension, we've got a 6-inch extension, and we've got a 2-inch extension. So, just laying out these part numbers for you. We're going to start with this one. 426671, or S1 I should say. That is of course going to be our 2-inch extension. And you're going to be looking at, are you sitting down? All in $4.49. Kind of crazy for American made. There's also something I really like about those. Right here, your 426654, that is going to be a 6-inch extension. $6.37. Kind of crazy, I know. And then the big bag that I threw over here, I don't think it had a part number on it, but the 10-inch extension that you see here set me back all of $12.99. I cannot tell you what kind of a steal that is. Essentially, we'll just round up. This is a $13 extension. That is gonna, we'll just call it 7, and we'll call that 5. So 7 and 5 is 12, plus 13 is 25. $25 for 3 made in the USA extensions that are not, you know, stubby 1.5 inch, 2 inch, and 3 inch. This is 2, 6, and 10, which again I thought would get me going the vast majority of the time. And one of the things I love, and you can find this with Mac stuff too, you know, Mac's made in the USA, is that, you know, I'm a sucker for knurling, and these have knurling. This is a situation you can come in and you can just spin the extension. If we twist off the 9/16 here, now these are fixed. These are, I'm so used to Koken's wobble fix extensions. I'm probably going to bring some in, but this right here is just stereotypical old school straight. We need to go from A to B, and we don't have an extra deep socket. This gets the job done. So that is what we did. That is our quarter drive setup. I, true story, have absolutely no clue how I'm going to wind up storing these. I'm tempted to rob these Ernst rails. I've got one more quarter drive 13-inch setup that I could take to work and just kind of use those in the meantime while I figure things out. I've also got like a lot of the, if you recall, way back when we started the organization quest, I brought in on stupid good buys a bunch of the MTS stuff through Carlisle or Napa, and we haven't really used it. It was one of those deals I thought I could swap things over, you know, like the fancy labeled ones and the non-labeled, and I had it all figured out because you're supposed to get SAE and metric labels with each one. They're not compatible, if you recall from that unfortunate video sequence, and learned that the hard way, but I've got those and I haven't used them, and that would give me mag rail possibilities there, but I've really grown to love the Ernst and the versatility, and of course in blue I can get magnet in 8, 13, and 18, and that's kind of the bee's knees here. 13 is sort of overkill for a 10-piece socket set. I don't plan to expand on this at all, and as you can see, if I come in right there, we've got them spaced nicely. 8 inches is more than sufficient for these quarter drive socket sets of 10 pieces. It's kind of what I'd like to do there, and you know, we can make a tray if we want to, we can go without if we decide to go that route, but it's all sort of up in the air. I'm just kind of frantically trying to get this done because it's getting late. I promised my nephew I'd do some stuff with him, and I'm trying to stay true to that word. So yeah, I guess we will. The one thing, like, I do, honest to gosh, I am not a chrome person. I like the matte chrome. I like the looks of the Koken, Style Villa, you name it. This is not really my bread and butter, my cup of tea. It works, it's American, you know, it lasts, it's durable. The 9/16, you can see it right there. This is obviously the largest deep socket, so it's going to be the biggest font, the easiest for you to read. I will say definitively that I prefer the way Wright stamps their sockets. It's insanely like deeper and larger, just way more visible, but this is by no means bad, and again, we'll have everything labeled out once we get it going. At some point in time, maybe I'll get to film something after hours at work, kind of show you what I'm up to there, in terms of the toolbox anyway. But yeah, just fantastic prices to get 20 made in the USA quarter drive sockets, shallow and deep, 3/16 to 9/16, plus extensions, and they come in under $120. It's crazy. Go look at Snap-on, look at Matco, so they don't even manufacture them. Look at Mac, then go to your favorite, you know, German or Japanese brand. This was a very solid buy. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna get this kind of bundled back up. Again, my apologies for having to kind of rush through this. It's just sort of the way it panned out. But I'll tell you right now, the next video, we're going to take a look at the 3/8 stuff. I'm going to try to crank that out. I'm quickly running out of time. So with that said, let me know your thoughts on this deal. Again, the little 2-inch is so bad. So bad. The knurling on that is perfectly spaced. It's just awesome. It's one of the main reasons I pulled the trigger on it instead of 3. But let me know your thoughts on this, what you would do differently, if you think we got a great deal, a terrible deal, if we should have gone a different route. I will say also, I've always loved the updated Proto. It's really not updated, but you know, I usually, stuff at work looks just like that 9/16 socket that you saw. This one sort of has like the in-your-face Proto logo, a little bigger, a little easier to see. I'm kind of sad those sockets don't. It would be been neat if that was updated, but that reminds me of stuff that we've had at work for years, so it's fine, and we'll take it from there. But I also do run the option of, if I decide to go a different route, I could easily be like, hey, work, here's these, I'm gonna sell them to you cheap, and I'm gonna buy myself something different. But for now, this is what I'm gonna roll with. So LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. With that said, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned a little something. Again, I'll have this link down below solely for your convenience. And last but not least, hope you have a fantastic weekend. Most importantly, I hope I catch you back here for more action from the shop.